Hardcore. Okay, so starting off, if you have a weak pelvic floor or if you have a prolapsed uterus, and we don't want to just move up and down, but we want to strengthen from the inside out, not just from the outside in. Justice, can you move the camera down so they can see me? We sit down on the Cellerciser. It's good? They say, okay. We sit down on the Cellerciser. We can put our hands right by our hips to help support our back. And then we tilt backwards slightly. So we don't have just the vertical. We have a little additional support here while we build these internal connective tissues and the fascia as well as the muscles. So we can control the movement. If you have a medical condition, of course, consult with your doctor. You can share this with your doctor or have the doctor give me a call, because there are many different approaches we can take toward this. But by sitting back, and we've helped a lot of people with this, we gently move up and down just like this. You can do it watching TV. I'm not moving because of my arms. I'm moving because of the internal muscles right here, these core muscles. You're just giving your back a little extra support while you're building up your back. And so it's just like this, very gentle. But the moment you tilt, you can take your fingers, feel how tight those muscles are. Now as you're moving up and down, you're moving the internal structure. You're putting weight on it over and over, gentle weight. The body responds to the increase of weight by becoming firmer and stronger. So again, lady wrote me a beautiful customer review, kind of sums it up. She said, David, as I was hitting midlife, I felt like everything was headed south. Now that I've been Cellercising, I feel like everything's headed north again. I get that. I get that. So just this gentle moving up and down. Now as you get stronger, yeah, you can take away your hands. And you're bouncing up and down. Now it's even more intense right here. But you've graduated to that. I tell people, you don't have to work hard on it, play on it. It'll work hard on you. It's automatic. But this is all, this movement, it's all working these areas of the body. There are men who I've talked to and who've had hernias. And if the hernia is a fairly fresh hernia, you can actually take your hands and hold those areas that are weak, you hold them in while you're gently moving up and down. And that can help those muscles to knit and tighten around that weak area. You're pushing in that area to help give it that additional support while we're building it back up again. I don't know many exercises that are going to do that. Then, as you're gently moving up and down, if you want to leverage more weight to strengthen the lower abdominals even more, you're tilted backwards a little bit and just lift up one leg. It's all being done right there. Those muscles, you just leveraged all that much more weight on that whole abdominal region. When the leg gets tired, lift up the other leg. Those are graduated movements. Don't start off this way, but eventually you become strong enough, you can lift up both legs. It's all being done right with those stomach muscles. And then for those who really want to go after the core, well, go ahead. This is working the obliques, or in and out, or up and down. You know, I don't know if a sit-up that's going to work the core as effectively. But initially, if you have any issues in this area, you can regulate the amount of weight or stress simply by how far you tilt. This is so gentle right here. And yet, if you take your fingers and push in, the moment you tilt back, you have weight on there. Now you can regulate how far back you tilt as well. It's under your control. But if you give a little additional support and bounce, you can do that also. But it's not just working the surface muscles. Cellercise is working all the internal muscles as well, which has a huge amount of benefits. We don't want to have a hernia. We don't want to tear. We want to keep the internal structure firm and healthy, and that can do that. Let your back get strong before you do too much of that without your hands supporting you. Now another way to do this is to stand on the Cellerciser as you move up and down, and frankly, this is, I'm going to take my little socks off here because I prefer to do this in socks or barefoot. And this one here is you just want to lift your knees up to get to your core. You can't really do that on the ground the same way because you're hitting a hard surface, and it just doesn't work very well lifting your knees up real high and running in place. But on the Cellerciser, you have enough support and enough resistance that these core muscles are going to get stronger. And that's simply by lifting your knees up. So it's just like this. And as you're jogging in place, all you have to do is stand there, lift your knee up. You feel the muscles automatically tighten. Well, when you're jogging in place, those muscles are getting stronger because you're lifting your knee up as you're coming down. Then the next graduated movement, and this is all I do for my stomach muscles, is that as you're jogging, you can tilt backward slightly. And now all these muscles are tight the whole time. It's an isometric with an isotonic to build the muscles. And again, remember, we're doing not just these muscles. It's all the internal muscles as well as the rest of the body. That's what makes Cellercise so efficient. And then the one that I do for my stomach muscles is in its leverage, and I usually grab the balance bar. When I do it, we usually have it on, I just turn to the side, I grab the balance bar, and I just do my kickouts. So it's just like this, and this is why I like to have my socks on, because as I come down, boom, that's a lot more leverage, and that gives you a flatter stomach. When you do the sit and bounce one, it gives you a little more rounded muscles. Personally, I like the flatter look, but that's just what I do. Those are all core. Whether you have weaknesses on the inside or the outside, and you want to work that core, those movements will do that. Now, we're working the stomach is important, but it's also important to work the back. And we can do that simply by leaning forward with that balance bar, and then just basically just kicking your legs up behind you. And as you come down, the bar gives you the ability to lean a little bit more without worrying about falling over. But as I come down, I'm strengthening that back. Now don't overdo that, because if you haven't done that before, you may simply be doing this, and that's okay. Just by tilting forward a little bit, you're working the muscles. As the muscles naturally become stronger, your leg will become straighter, and that helps to lift the buttocks and the back up as well.